This is the news you have all been waiting for. Where will the Gomez family move with the military? We are going to get to that. And I believe many of you are going to be absolutely shocked of where they are sending us. This is not something that we expected, not something that was ever on our roadmap together as husband and wife. But isn't it like the Lord? We're going to throw you into a whole new experience. So, stay tuned for that. But I'm going to recap a little bit because many of you have been following the journey since we started in January of 2026. Maybe you're brand new. This is the first podcast you've ever heard. Welcome to the It's Bigger Than Me show. I'm your host, Molly Gomez. And I'm so grateful when the Lord brought this new experience in. And it's for the simple fact of I know walking people through the last 10 years, walking people through the importance of the stories, the lived, the learned, the leadership experience. The moment the Lord walked me into, hey, you will become a military spouse, I was like, well, there are going to be some stories in there. Being married for 6 years, being entrepreneurs first, what else? No kids yet, but there's so many things where my husband and I had such great history and we will continue to have great history, but going into the military at this stage is just different. It doesn't happen very often. I mean, we see people online all the time, whether it's social media or whatnot, where men are getting into the military in their 30s and 40s. My husband's in his 30s. So it's not uncommon, but it's not very common. Most of the men my husband is surrounded with are men that are 18, 19, 20, 25 years old. And so he's quite a bit older than them. So he's like the uncle of the group, which would make me the great aunt because I'm a little bit older than my husband. But it doesn't really mean anything. It's just an age, right? And when my husband decided at his age in his 30s, early 30s, to make this career change, formerly being a business owner, opening or having a media business for several years, Rose Gold Media, and helping people bring their content to life, their passions, their mission, their movement to life. He was so good at it, still is great at it, just knew it wasn't for him anymore. So I will never forget the day he came to me and said, "Hey, honey, I'm going to be enlisting in the military. What do you think?" And I'm like, "What?" And here's lesson number one. He came to me with that information. I actually said, absolutely not, unless you can share the bigger vision behind it, because I don't want you coming in here wrecking our life just because you're not really sure what's next. Not saying joining the military will wreck your life. It is a huge pivot, though, a huge pivot. So when he finally had the space to share the bigger vision and how far back it went, that's where lesson number one starts. It's give your person the space to share, hey, I know I need to do something different. I know it may feel a little scary, might be a little rocky for a few minutes, but are you on board? Are you on board to do this with me? And once my husband shared that vision, it really locked me in because it brought the Lord into these places where I had some things I had to work through in order to rely on the Lord. You know what, Lord? I know you have us. And I had so much peace over it. That's how I knew. I had so much peace. It wasn't what I wanted. It wasn't what just my husband wanted. Lord, what do you want? And then align that with align our hearts with what you want. And he did that. So really giving your person the space in order to be able to just verbalize what they're about to do, even if they don't have all the answers, that's okay. My husband did not have very many answers. Actually, the more we get into this thing, the less answers we have. And we'll get to that a little bit later when it came to them telling us the duty station and where we're going. So there are so many lessons along the way, even learning to live without him. Lesson number two, learning to live in this home that we built together without him, going through the grieving process of he's not here. He is somewhere else, and I can't really talk to him because we had 5 months almost of just one phone call a month and a few letters here and there. Now, I treasure those letters more than anything. I have them in a safe place, and that is gold to me. But my body and my mind were going through a grieving process of being separated from my best friend, my person, and then operating as normal, building my own business, supporting my own clients, continuing my own life and dreams, even though I didn't have the person that I want every single day to be next to me. He was no longer there. Not in my bed, not at the kitchen counter, not in the car when we're driving to church or driving to go get something to eat, nowhere. So I had to learn to live without him temporarily, temporarily. And the Lord brought me into such a sweet place of it's you and me. It is you and it is me. Now, maybe you might be in a similar situation, or maybe you might be in a situation where you're separated from your person, or maybe you don't have your person at all anymore. I've seen so many changes over the last 5 months and big pivots, just unimaginable pivots for people. And it can be very challenging, but it's an invitation to draw into the Lord of Lord, you are all I want. And when you focus on him, he will make everything else clear. But it's the reason you're not clear is because you're focused on everything else and the fear, and it's cloudy. And I was there for a little bit. I was there for a little bit of, man, I don't know how I'm going to be able to do this one foot in front of the other. But I said, we can do it. Lord, give me the strength. Give me the strength. And it got easier. And even a couple episodes earlier, I talked about this veil coming over my home, where this home we once built together, I looked around and it's not that he was not present, meaning his stuff was here and his clothes are in the closet, right? But the Lord put that veil over where I no longer got sad of, oh, I just wish he was here. I just wish he was here. And like had that become a weight. It became a thought, which I was like, oh, I wish you were here, but I can't wait to see you again. And then I moved on because there's no point in sitting in that. No point in sitting in that. It's like, Lord, whenever I get that day, we get that day. So yeah, those 5 months were wild. Now, fast forward to graduation. He had a couple different graduation ceremonies, and I'll talk about the last one and get to the good stuff because I know y'all want to know where we're moving. But the last graduation was so beautiful. I mean, to see all these families come together for all of these companies, this brigade. I mean, hundreds and hundreds of people filled the stand at the National Infantry Museum in Fort Benning, Georgia, and just so much love, gratitude, tears. I mean, so many moms and wives and kids and dads and brothers and sisters. I mean, it was just like, wow, we're a part of something so much bigger now as I look around. As I was sitting next to my father-in-law, I'm like, wow, we are just so proud of our guy. We're so proud of Jonathan and what he has committed to and what he has stepped into. Now, I will tell you what was wild to see is when we were all released from that ceremony, they all put us out in the parking lot, separated them by companies, 4 different companies. And some guys literally had to put on their packs, jump on the bus, and they didn't even get a hug or a kiss goodbye when they were promised an hour. Like we were promised an hour, and some of these moms and wives and brothers, sisters, kids didn't even get that. And they were shipped off and had to go. That broke my heart. Luckily, our situation was a little bit different. So Johnny applied to be in the Ranger Assessment Program. So we had a few days leave. And I found out the day before graduation. So day before graduation, he's like, I don't have to be back until this date. So I actually booked a couple things for us to be able to get out of town. We got out into the Georgia mountains for a 4-day escape. It was beautiful. So luckily, I had time. People, men who had other assignments, special forces, whatnot, airborne, other things, they had a few days and they got to spend that with their family. So luckily, I had that with Jonathan. Then when I had to drop him off, I thought I was dropping him off and I wouldn't see him, let alone really hear from him for 3 months because the Ranger Assessment Program, they say you get even less phone time. So I was preparing myself for that until when I drop him off, I'm driving from Fort Benning to the Atlanta airport and I am basically getting on my flight and then I'm jumping on a connecting flight, kind of speeding through the story. My connecting flight, I had literally had to walk on the plane. I would have missed it if I didn't walk on the plane. And I see Johnny calling and I'm like, okay, I got to answer this. So I answer it and he said, babe, I turned down the Ranger contract. And I was like, wait, what? Like so shocked. Why? He sustained a hip injury. He had some issues with his knees. And so he was going to be a holdover for a little bit just to assess the injuries, but then decided to drop it. And the sergeant that gave him some wisdom said, you can always reapply, but I recommend just getting healthy. So he was in this holding pattern. And we were like, okay, so you're no longer doing that. We don't know where you're going. So this could have been a 3 to 4 week holding pattern, is what we were told. So I'm going from, I just saw him graduate. I had to leave him. I don't know the next time I was going to talk to him to now you're in a holding pattern. He has his phone. My emotions are all over the place. So here's another lesson. Don't ride the train of emotions like when they hit. I mean, it's so hard not to get on that train and just let it ride. But it was like, how can I sustain this crazy ride to just be there for him and the ride that he's on, but then also take a step back, being like, okay, this is a little chaotic, but Lord, I trust you. I trust you. And I believe my husband made a very wise decision because he would have been in some crazy training and that could have been a permanent injury. So thank you, Lord, for the wisdom that he didn't step into that and he could always step into it later because there are so many injuries that take place in the military. So now we're getting up to where we're going. You're sticking with me here. I know you are. You're ready. So were told it would be 3 to 4 weeks before we got the new assigned duty station, and then he would be out and on his way. And so Jonathan has his phone. He's hanging out with the guys in the barracks. They're just having some free time, doing whatever, not whatever they want, but they have way more free time than they did before with basic training because they're officially graduated and they're just waiting to hear what's next. Where are we going? Because a lot of these guys were in injury holdovers or they were just in limbo because they're being reassigned. So within a week. And as I'm recording this, it was less than 7 days ago that I received this information. And so the last 7 days from when I recorded this, it was a wild ride. Wild. So where we will be going, and I got a hat here, and it's not what you think. So y'all know this is an LA Dodgers hat, but what else stands for what does LA also stand for? Louisiana. So I wanted to bring this on here because for all my California people, you're like, you're coming back. I am not. LA, Louisiana. My husband and I will be going and moving to Leesville, Louisiana. That is coming up very quick. And I cannot wait to share with you miracles that are unfolding as far as where we will be living and just amazing things that God is doing. But I will tell you what, here's another lesson. When it comes to where you're moving. So everybody would want like the Carolinas or Georgia or Hawaii or like there's a lot of really cool places you can move. Colorado with the military. Louisiana is one of those. And if y'all live there, this is no shade. This is just completely like different type of living for me. We're moving to a town of 5,200 people. There is no Starbucks, no Costco, no Target. What else? Those are the main three. Oh, my husband and I drive a Tesla, and there's no Tesla chargers. We have to drive an hour to get to a supercharger. That one threw me through for a loop. I was like, that's going to be different. 5,200 people, very tiny military town. And here's the thing, we were both like, what? Because we live here in Las Vegas right now. Everything's within 5, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. If you want to get to absolutely anything here, you have everything at your fingertips. The airport, I mean, everything. We have to drive an hour to get to an airport in Leesville. Like, we are about to be in a very rural, tiny community. And I'm actually so looking forward to this. And here's why. I feel like all the shows I love to watch on Netflix are these small town living. Everybody knows everybody. And sure, I'm sure at times it gets real small. People want to get out. That's what an airplane is for. But just the sheer you are going to be our neighbor and we want to help you in a way that we can, that we have already experienced and we haven't even moved there yet, has been incredible. We got on Zillow. We were looking at places out there, and there are not many, but I believe Johnny and I just secured the best one. And the owner of this home, beautiful, like just bubbly woman that basically entrepreneur, which I love. She said, when we moved in here 10 years ago, there were basically trailers that were sitting on acres. And that's all you had. She was like, I'm not living in a trailer. So they purchased 6 acres. They built homes on it, beautiful homes 10 years ago. So we are going to be stepping into one of those when we arrive there in the next couple weeks. So she has been such a godsend, so flexible, so kind, so just, I can't wait to. We're coming back. We're coming back. She has just been so flexible, so kind, just incredible, incredible, and just really loves to work with military people and honors their service. And so we cannot wait. She's actually going to be our neighbor. The whole little like pockets of where we're all going to be living in the space that we are. Um, in three, two, and one. She is just so flexible, so kind, great with military people. That's who she prefers to work with. And I just can't wait. I can't wait to be a part of a community where it is a little bit smaller, focused on people. I mean, I'm already hearing stories of how people are helping others and just stuff you don't see in a bigger city. So it will definitely be a culture shock. That is for sure. It will be different. It'll be a culture shock. At the end of the day, I am expectant. So here's another lesson. I haven't even arrived yet, but I'm like, Lord, how can, show me how I can see this place the way you see it, see the people the way you see them. Show me where you want me to serve, where you want me to give, what you want me to do. And what I know best, especially in the season that I'm in, is God will usually call us to a place of consecration to really be able to assess and see. I mean, it even says in Genesis 1, I mean, the Spirit hovered over the water before anything took place. Like, assess the situation, see what it's like before you move. Now, you may understand how you want to move, but like, really allow the Lord to give you eyes to see. And so I could look at this tiny little town being like, great, I don't have all these, I don't have Trader Joe's, which I shop at all the time and I love Trader Joe's. My mom joked the other day, she goes, just hit me up if you need to cry that you don't have Trader Joe's. I was like, thanks, mom. But there are things that you could look at it like, here's what I'm missing out on. But the perspective is, Lord, what am I stepping into? What am I stepping into? So the beauty of what this place has opened up for us is, number one, before I even got news, I'm going to give you the miracle story. Before I even got news of where we would be stationed, I heard the Lord whisper sweetly to me, I have the most perfect home for you. And I was just not going to lie. In my quiet time, I had tears drop. I was like, thank you, Lord. Because I am in that season of I cannot wait to cultivate and build a home with my person, start a family. Like, that is the season I am like revving up for. I cannot wait. As the Lord leads, when that plays out is up to him. But he said, I have the most perfect home for you. Then we get the news that we are going to Fort Polk, Louisiana. That's the station that my husband will be at. And we looked up homes and there were like only a handful and less than like on one hand, you could count ones in good areas. So I quite literally believe we picked the best one. We got on the phone with her and by, I believe it was Wednesday night. This was Monday. We got the news. By Wednesday night, we did a virtual walkthrough. We were on the phone for an hour and she was like, I cannot wait to rent to y'all. I cannot wait to have you step into this home and just be the ones that are going to steward this property. And it's beautiful. It is beautiful. And one thing about Louisiana, it is probably the cheapest rent and living that you will find in America. So I am not mad about that. That was the first plus that I saw. But outside of that being a blessing, just this woman of, you need to go here and check this out. And these are different parts of the state. And she even told us how, we're such a tight knit community that there was a gentleman where he was deployed and his wife just had a baby, their first baby. She had no idea what she was doing. And this woman goes, yeah, I was just over at her house from like, 8 to 1, just helping her out. That's the kind of community that we're moving into. I cannot wait. So, I mean, for y'all, stay tuned. There's so much to unpack, just where we're going, where we're headed. We don't have the exact date yet. That was my only like hesitation of recording this podcast because we don't have the date. And many of y'all have been asking, like, where are you moving? I wanted to wait till we had that, but it could be a week that I would be moving out of Las Vegas. It could be 2 weeks moving out of Las Vegas, but pretty much by, second week, third week of September, we will be out there and we will be living a completely different life out there in Louisiana. But I'm grateful. The military is going to give us experiences that we wouldn't have otherwise. And I'm grateful for my husband following where the Lord has led him. He has shared with me time and time again, did I make the right choice? Am I doing the right thing? And I said, honey, I just feel the peace of God on it. So that's how I know you're doing the right thing. He's like, I do too. But he shares with me, he feels like he leaves me behind, and he's just like, I don't want to leave you alone. I don't want to leave you behind. I don't like that part. And I'm like, I don't either. But there are certain things that we don't like about our callings that require sacrifices. And it's what it is. And what it is that I do. There are certain things that are sacrifices for he and I, but we make them anyways, and we always make it work. And I will say this, the time apart actually has been such a blessing for our marriage because we used to be like literally on top of each other, talking to each other all the time, doing everything together, which I love, but there's no room for new if we're always together. So now we have some of this separation, just differences. We're not both working from home anymore. We're both not working in the same thing anymore. He is now going to be doing something completely different, completely different. And I'm learning, even relearning as a spouse, when we come back together, it will look different when we live together. It will look different, the conversations, things won't be the same. And I'm actually very much looking forward to that. So there's another lesson in there. So many of us are looking for the same. We want it to be the same, go back to normal. I actually don't want it to go back to normal anything. I want to have this be a marker for something new to move forward. So this is the new normal, right? Conversations will look different. When he comes home after a deployment, it will be a lot different, you know? I hope my husband never gets deployed. That would be an incredible gift to me, but I don't get that choice, right? I don't get that choice. But I know God protects him everywhere he goes. Everywhere he goes. And I know that God has him on assignment, not only to serve our country, but to serve the men that he's alongside of. My husband is a very deep man when it comes to just asking questions, digging a little bit deeper, caring on a deeper level. That's one of the reasons I fell in love with him, because he truly does genuinely put his heart out there and care and serve and give, no matter what he gets in return. And he is so gracious with it all. And I'm sure men are just like, dude, you are just not normal. It isn't normal. It is a godsend. He is the son of the Most High, and he sure acts like it. And so I'm just very grateful for what this journey is teaching us. I'm grateful where this journey is going to lead us. There's so much more to unfold. I've had people say, hey, a couple close friends that I've shared this information with, can you vlog this experience? I don't even know what that part of the world looks like. I mean, y'all, I'm about to learn about a whole new like chart of bugs out there. And so I'm typically not one of those girlies that are like, oh, but when there are snakes involved, apparently I can't even walk on my own front yard because there's going to be snakes slithering around in the grass. That's where we're going. So that will be an experience. But at the end of the day, that is where the Lord has us. And we will be there in a matter of weeks and then just see where the Lord leads. And we don't know if we'll be there for my husband's full contract. We don't know where that may be, what that may look like. But at the end of the day, it's wherever God wants us to go. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I know so many people have asked because they have questions and what is this journey like? But overall, as I'm sharing this with you, I hope you got caught on some of these lessons of that I'm learning. Because if there's one or two, it's kind of like a combo that I could share that God has just been like almost dragging me through the most. It's like whether you want to go through this or not, you're going through it. Is really releasing control and what full surrender looks like. As I shared after Johnny's graduation, he didn't tell me till the day before his graduation that he had in the beginning of August 2026 that he had a couple days that we could get together. He was supposed to have a phone call days before that, but they didn't get it for whatever reason because apparently a drill sergeant decided not to give it to them. So within less than 24 hours, I had some plans that were in the hopper, but then I had to make phone calls and they're like, yes, yes, we can do it. We can do it. Get the rental car, get the cabin, bing, bang, boom, let's go. And so I've never been that type of on the fly planner, but I will tell you this, that time that I had with Johnny, because I didn't know when I would be able to get together with him. I didn't know when we would have that time. I said, let's do it. Let's make it happen. And it was the best little mini vacation that we've ever had. Tucked away in the Georgia mountains, rained every night. We had the sound of a creek outside the window, little birds chirping, no cell phone service. So we were literally like tucked away in the mountains, but it was so beautiful, so fresh every morning we walked out, making breakfast and coffee and the meals. We didn't even go out to eat. We just stayed in and cooked. It was beautiful. And it was time well spent, just intentionally together. And it all came within a few days. You could put all the planning, plan all the restaurants, all the everything, all the food. But when you can just let it flow and see where it goes, I know for myself personally, being a planner my entire life, I now see what I've been missing out on when you just let things flow and see what God does. And he's blowing our minds with what we're about to step into with Louisiana. I know that may sound crazy. Everything I just shared with you, like, is that really mind blowing? The home is literally perfect. The home is perfect. I get to be with the person I love. And we're going to be in an area where there's not going to be a ton of distractions, which I love that for myself in this season. Because the less distractions, the more time I get to just really listen, lock in, listen to the Lord, lock in on what he has, what he wants to put in my hands to focus on what matters most, what he's called me to steward in my business, in my marriage, our future family that will be coming, just all of those things. God's going to do a thing. He is. And I know that I have just really learned to just release. Lord, whatever you want, the minute you tell me where I'm supposed to go, I move quick. And that has been such a godsend in this season, because if you know that you're obedient to when he says go, then it doesn't matter when he says it, you just do it. There are many reasons along this journey where I'm like, Lord, I don't know if I have it or I can. And he's like, well, that's where I come in. Like, I can. I am the strength. I am the one you lean on. Like, it's not about what you can do, it's about what I can do and what I'm already doing. So I just pray that over you that if you're in a season of transition, release, new, something, just know that he's guiding, he's leading. Everything is going to work out for your good. And that may seem really hard to believe right now, but he will. Who knew that my husband saying, I'm going to turn down this Ranger contract would lead us here? And then the excitement that we had. At first, it wasn't necessarily excitement. I was excited to have an answer. He wasn't that thrilled. But then when we saw this home and we met the owner and we saw things that were coming afterwards, we were like, we cannot wait to get there. I cannot wait to pack up and move to Louisiana because that's where the Gomez are headed. Louisiana, Leesville, Louisiana. So who knew that my favorite hat would actually stand for two things? Number one, California, a state that I love, but Louisiana, the state that I'm moving to. Who knew? God knew. As corny as y'all may think some of this is, it's literally, I look at it, I'm like, that is so divine. Like, come on, only God. Seriously? Only God. So here we go. Buckle up. Get ready for the ride. So if there's anything that you would like to share in the comments, share this episode with somebody who needs it, somebody who's in that transition season. Share in the comments what you picked out of this. Maybe one of those reflection lesson points. You're like, yeah, I resonate with that. I resonate with that. Trust me, your girl would have rather moved to a bunch of different places, but this is where the Lord has. And this is what we will walk into. And I'm expectant for what's next. Because one phrase I have been saying the entire year is blow my mind, Lord. Blow my mind. And when I saw this hat and I was like, sure, it stands for LA Dodgers, but it also stands for Louisiana. I said, Lord, you are, let's go. So that is where we are headed. So share anything that you had taken away in the comments below, in the podcast section, to leave reviews and be able to share just what the Lord is revealing to you here. Because I share these things not for me just to be like, here you go, this is an update. There's something in it for everyone. I'm a firm believer in that. So I'd love to hear what that is for you. But until next time, probably the next time I record something, we will be in Louisiana in our new digs. So we will see you then.